Welcome to Real Talk at the Round Table with Coach William Forcum, Coach David Smith, Coach Alisa Reiss. We are happy to be here with you talking about all things bold and what it takes to really persevere through personal development. So, on that topic, David.
Yeah, so this is always one of my good things because, in order to win, you've got to have that confidence. When you have strong confidence, too much confidence you become pride. But there's a balance to where you have strong confidence, and it's wonderful because you're bold.
Right on. I like it. That tightrope between humility and confidence. Humility and confidence. It is a tightrope. It is a tightrope. And, I think it's how far do we want to go down the rabbit hole? Because if we each see reality differently through our own set of lenses, what happens if we are trying to be humble and confident, but we're not being perceived as humble and confident?
That's right. Now, my question is, for you, how did we come up with this topic? What strikes in your life that brought us to the topic of being bold?
Well, David, I'm really glad you asked that because, there's a big background to why being bold is so important to me. So let me share some of my story so you understand why it's so important to me. So to do that, we have to rewind all the way to the point where I was born. So all the way back, all the way back. And the reason why I say all the way back to when I was born is because that is when all of our stories start, is when we were born. And things that happened even as we were babies and toddlers can affect us as adults. And so all the way back, I'm a little girl, toddler. I have a great life. My family's perfect, not perfect, but good family. Great childhood. But I was a very timid little girl, very perfectionistic. And my perfectionism was a little debilitating to me growing up. And because I was constantly trying to be perfect in other people's eyes, or what I perceived they wanted me to be, it got me in trouble. And I mean, as a little girl, not necessarily as a little girl, it got me in trouble, but I would misinterpret people's reactions to things that I did. For example, as a little girl, 5 years old, I'm in a dance class and we were having a recital. And I was admittedly, I was cute. And we're all dressed up as Cupid because this dance is all about Cupid. It's Valentine's Day. We've got little quivers of arrows on our backs and we're dancing. And at one point in the dance, we had to reach back and grab one of our arrows out of our quiver and then shoot it out into the audience. Well, I reached back and I could not get my arrow out. And I struggled and struggled and struggled. And people started to laugh. And I took that to mean that they didn't like me and they hated me. And so my little 5-year-old self ran off the stage as fast as I could and ran to my mom where I hid. I didn't understand that I was just being cute and they were just laughing because it was cute. And so fast forward into my teenage years, I am still a perfectionist, trying really, really hard to be perfect in what I think everybody wants me to be. And because of that, again, it got me into trouble. Because of this, I got used and abused a little bit by men just going through life. And so I don't know how much I want to say about that, but just trying to be perfect and being afraid to to come out and actually say what I think because I'm trying to be perfect in their eyes. And so fast forward the past several years, I got to a point where I just said, you know what, no more. I am not doing what I think other people want me to do anymore. And so my journey with being bold started, I don't know, 10 years ago, maybe longer. I don't know. But everything in my life since then has just been pushing me further and further towards being bold. And we were laughing about it before the podcast started, but I want to make sure that everybody knows the definition of the word bold, because as a school teacher, I know it's really important to be sure that we're all on the same page. So, definition of bold is to show courage, confidence, and being willing to take risks. Okay, that was not me years ago. I was not willing to take risks. I was not confident. I did not have any courage. But now I'm a completely different person. Just because of some things that have happened in my life. And anyway, do you have any questions about anything that I've talked about yet?
Absolutely.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Lay it on me.
Well, it brings me to a thing, a while ago, as all of us are coaches, and we go through, Ramsey, we had these workshops that we go through. And Tim Mann is one of the senior coaches, and he does one of the workshops. And he did a thing about, consultations and things like that. And I told him, well, you have to coach with boldness. After that, he started putting in he gives like 4 things that, the prereps of this session is going to be, these are the 4 things you got to do. After I said about you got to coach with boldness, he added that in there. And so boldness is a key. So my question to you, being that this is the new year, and you kind of made mention to it, but being that this is a new year, what kind of things are you doing different this year in strengthens for being bold?
That's a really good question. Things I'm doing differently this year. I'm taking some risks. I am getting out of my comfort zone, and I'm doing things that I would not have done, say, last year. Talking to people, just cold conversations, not knowing exactly what I am going to say or what they are going to say has always been a struggle for me. So I am working really hard on that. So I've made it a goal to talk to, I think this week I've got to talk to 5 people who I don't know about finance. And so this comes up just talking to them about things that they like and then finding ways to segue into finance, even just personal finance. And so that's one of the things. And then another thing I am doing is just social media, getting out there and putting myself out there. So, yeah.
And I have watched those social media posts that you make, those videos. Alisa, we're friends on Facebook, and those are really impressive. So just take that encouragement. Don't let it get to your head.
I'll try not to let it get to my head.
But I think we all know that a little bit of encouragement goes a long way with us coaches, because we are consistently trying to get out of that comfort zone. And when we are outside of the comfort zone, we need the encouragement, and we can really get in our own head and overthink, and it can be pretty scary.
Well, it's the thing of you got to practice what you preach. Now, we always push people as a coach. Not only do we get you out of your comfort zone for change, but we push you for that more. And so we have to practice what we preach, right? We have to do it as well. And that's why we need other coaches to push us. Every good coach has a coach. I actually have 3 coaches I work with on a consistent basis, just for that. You know, I have one that helps me critique me on certain things. I have another one that critiques on other things. You know, you have different coaches for different things. All the good people, all the successful, you ask them, and they all have at least one coach that they pay for to strengthen them.
Yeah. That's powerful. 100% agree there, David. 100% agree there. Oh wow, you know, and your story, Alisa, about you were 5 years old, and there you were, 5-year-old little Alisa, trying to be perfect, and you were getting laughed at because you couldn't get your arrow out of your quiver to shoot it as Cupid, and you didn't understand that you were being cute, and that's why they were laughing, because you were cute. Because you weren't trying to be cute, you were actually trying to do what you were supposed to do, and because you weren't able to do it, they were laughing. That triggered a defense response, which wasn't very cute, I might imagine. But yeah, so I know that I've dealt with a lot of that myself. David, what about you?
Oh yeah, but let's ask more details.
Yeah, come on in here with some more details.
More details about what?
Yeah, it could be that story, or maybe another story that's similar. You know, you were 5 years old then. Have you had anything recent where you had to maybe catch yourself in the moment? Like, wait, they're not laughing at me because they hate me or because they're making fun of me. Like, they're laughing because it's funny.
I'm not laughing at you. I'm laughing with you.
Right.
I always thought the saying was, I was laughing near you. I'm not laughing at you. I'm laughing near you.
I like that.
I can't remember. That was from a movie. I don't remember the movie. But I do want to say, how often does that happen to all of us? That we do something maybe stupid. We say something that we shouldn't say. And people laugh. I mean, it happens to us every day, to all of us. And how do we react to that? Because what we perceive they are doing may not actually be what they think they are doing, because, you know, perception is reality, and what we perceive might be different than what they perceive. And so, I mean, it's just very important. So you asked if I had anything recently. Well, yeah, I mean, every day, every single day, I have something. But I've gotten to a point now that I realize, you know, they're not necessarily laughing at me. They're just, you know, they might just be laughing because it's funny, or maybe even they empathize and they're laughing because it's true and they relate. And so, I don't know, do you guys have any situations that you have that are similar?
Constant basis.
Yeah.
Matter of fact, it was funny. I just hired somebody just earlier this week. I hired another coach specialist, and it's going to be a lot of money, but he's going to stretch me. He's going to push me, right? And that's what you need. You need that push. But the funny thing is when I was talking to him, you know, sometimes we in the conversation, we talk to people, and we're like, yeah, I can do this, and I'm good, and blah, blah, blah. And come to realize, it's like, yeah, but you need to have that push. You need to get that encouragement, right? Because you're just not quite there, and you need that little bit of boldness, that little bit of strength that, hey, I've got this. Yeah. You know, and when you don't got this, you have somebody to push you and say, hey, I got this. You know, one person tells me all the time, God's got this. Yes, God does have it, but we should have it as well, right? God is our support, and he will help us, but we should have the confidence and the boldness that, hey, we've got this.
Yeah, well, 100%. And I think there's something to do with grace there. It's like we don't earn it. God's got it, so do we, because he's given it to us for free. There's something there, I think, that we miss in the moments when we take ourselves too seriously and, people are laughing or whatever, and we're like, oh my gosh, they're laughing at me, and now I'm defensive. Like, if we would just tune in to grace and realize that we've got the victory because of Christ's finished work, nothing that we've done, it's like, okay, we can not take ourselves as seriously.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, it's only life.
Only life.
Only life.
We might as well smile and laugh our way through,
That's right. Our next life is going to be better, but while we're here, this is a short life compared to the next life, but enjoy it.
Yeah.
Because what's going to be in the next life will not be with us in the next life.
Yeah, and don't hear what we're not saying. I think that we should definitely try, like Paul says, to run the race
and
like you're trying to win. Yeah. But, I mean, let's face it, anybody that's laughing and having a good time is going to be doing a better job than somebody that's got to stick up their butt, I mean, let's just say it out there.
And I'm going to mention something.
That's what I was seeing too. I don't know.
We're blinking.
I think it's okay.
Okay. One thing that kind of reminds me of, because you were mentioning that, your son is into wrestling and stuff like that. A lot of times, I had this one guy, he loved to wrestle. And I told him, I says, I don't really wrestle. I come from the streets of Detroit. I don't know how to wrestle.
I know how to shoot you.
And he's playing around and everything like that. And so then he decides to charge me. And I was like, dude.
Like run at you?
Well, we were sitting, and so he kind of like ducks down and charges, like with his head. And I just went to block him, and then I just went boom and just laid him flat.
Like Wonder Woman with the...
No, not like Woman, because I'm a guy. I just blocked him with my arm and then took my other arm and smacked him.
I just watched Wonder Woman, okay, I'm sorry. It was fresh on the mind.
But I say that to say this. A lot of times we love to have fun, and we love to kick it. And when you're serious all the time, you don't really get much out of life. This is a short life, and live and enjoy every moment. When I get into a fight, a lot of times I'll laugh. It takes the other person off, and then I can beat them even quicker.
Because now they're mad.
Yeah, because they get mad, and you never fight when you're angry, because you will always lose.
You're not thinking logically.
Yep, and you'll miss things.
Yeah.
So I do that. It was funny because that's another story. But yeah, so I mean, laughing to get them to get off guard and then take them out.
And to everybody that doesn't know, David keeps a sword in his cane. So it helps him stab you.
Never know when you're going to need it.
My house, I got plenty of guns. Like, that's all beside the point. That's all beside the point. But anyhow, so flopping it back to getting into wrestling, when he wrestles, does he wrestle? Okay, does he wrestle to win, or does he wrestle to have fun?
My son, I think my son actually wrestles to have fun.
Alisa?
Can you hear me?
I think that likely means we are.
Oh, shit.
I was going to say it's still connected.
Okay. Can you hear me yet?
I hope that hurt us.
Can you hear me?
I wonder if we were talking for a while.
So, Alisa, did you hear what we were saying?
Yeah, I heard everything. Can you hear me?
Yeah, she is, but it's picking up our mic, but not anything coming from her side.
Yeah, can you?
Bear with us. We're having some audio issues, if you can even hear us.
Well, that's the one thing, everybody, about being live, unscripted. This podcast, if you watch the past videos, we have gotten better and better.
Yeah.
But this is live, unscripted, raw, and real.
Yep.
So sometimes we go through things like this.
That's right. That's right. That's right.
Yep. Can you hear me now? Can you hear me now?
Let me try some real quick.
So when it's blinking, you need to.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right, try now.
Alisa, say something so we can hear your voice.
Can you hear me now? Nope, you can't hear me now.
Well,
just bear with us, and we will be live shortly.
Oh, now it's not. Oh, no, there we go. Okay, can you hear me yet?
Spencer can. You know, I said that I didn't like experiments, but the shit.
All right, can you hear me now?
Growth, future, prosperity, hope,
And nature.
I guess you know nature too.
Yeah, nature.
I tried with every speaker we have, and it's not coming through.
Got scared.
Maybe I should turn it off and turn it back on.
Well, if it was the speaker going to like these speakers, it would have pulled through.
Okay. Let me try anyway, just for kicks and giggles.
Go for it.
Nope, can't hear me yet.
Okay, we're back on.
We're back live.
Nice.
Can you hear me now?
We can
We
hear
can hear
now.
you.
Yeah.
So,
Turns out turning
You
it
can hear
off
me now.
back on works.
so just so in case you guys didn't hear, thank you for bearing with us during these technical difficulties.
Yep.
This podcast is ran live, raw, unscripted.
Absolutely.
So sometimes we will run into technical difficulties.
Yep.
But thank you for bearing with us. There is no editing because it's live.
That's right.
So thank you for bearing with us.
Yep, yep.
And just in case you didn't hear me, the question I had asked you is sometimes I laugh when I'm fighting because it throws him off guard. So your son, when he wrestles, does he wrestle with laughter or is he all serious to win?
Well, you know, I was going to say he wrestles to have fun, but I don't honestly think that he wrestles to have fun. I think he actually is out there trying to win, and he is very serious about it. He doesn't win all the time. So, you know, that's a really good question. I'll have to ask him if he wrestles to have fun.
You know,
I know he gets really angry when he loses, so.
As long as he doesn't get angry during the fight.
that's his
Right,
mom
right.
coming out in him.
I missed what you said, William.
That's his mama coming out in him.
No, his mom is over there on the side of the mat. Just, do you know how stressful it is to be a wrestler's mom? I mean, seriously, I think it's more stressful for the mom than it is for the wrestler. So.
Don't break my baby's back.
Yeah, exactly. So, but you know, we were talking, and before you asked about wrestling, though, you were bantering back and forth, and made me think of one of my favorite quotes. It's from Marianne Williamson, and see if this rings true for you guys, because I think it rings true for a lot of people. But she said, "Our deepest fear is not that we are inadequate. Our deepest fear is that we are powerful beyond measure. It's our light, not our darkness, that most frightens us. We ask ourselves, who am I to be brilliant, gorgeous, talented, fabulous? Actually, who are you not to be? You are a child of God. Your playing small does not serve the world." So I'm wondering if sometimes the reason why we as people are not bold, it's because we feel like we don't want to show off a little bit. We don't want people to think that we think we're better than them, or that, you know, we don't want people to think we're showing off.
Right. Exactly. That's a great point. And I think that it's a good rule of thumb that if we don't have haters actively talking crap about us, then we're not doing something right. We're not being bold enough.
That's right. Well, they always say, as a Christian, right? Because all three of us are Christians, and a lot of our viewers are Christians.
Yep.
So I'm just going to say it this way. If the devil's not attacking you,
Come on.
then that means you are not close with God.
Yep.
Because the closer you get to your Father,
Yep.
the more He's going to attack you.
Amen.
Yep.
Amen.
That's true. That's true. So a lot of times, I mean, we don't want to seem like we're better than other people, and so we will shrink back. But that's our own fear of appearing better than other people. But, I mean, you mentioned that we're all Christian here too, and, being bold is just getting ourselves out there. I mean, you think of like bold-faced words in a sentence or the bold colors in a crayon box, they stand out. And you said, David and William, that if you're not standing out and if you don't have haters, then you're not doing something right. So, and that's kind of what I said, if I have haters, if things are going hard, then I must be doing something right,
Yep.
And so anyway, so because we're all Christian, I want to bring in some scripture. Do you guys mind if I bring in some scripture? Okay. And I've said this before to you guys, but my favorite scripture is Isaiah 41 verse 10. And it says, "Fear not, I am with thee. Be not dismayed, for I am thy God. I will strengthen thee, yea, I will help thee. Yea, I will uphold thee with the right hand of my righteousness." So, I don't know, we have to be bold. And we know that as we're bold, God is going to help us.
Amen. Amen.
So,
And I love that scripture, and this is the part that I love about it. God will uphold us with whose righteousness?
of course, He is.
With His, right?
Yes.
It's so easy for me, guys, to fall into that trap of self-righteousness. Well, God's going to accept me. My friends are going to accept me for the things that I do. Because I do these things, I'm loved by God and by others, and even by myself. But that is, like I said, a trap. It's a terrible trap. And it's so natural, I think, for us to fall into, and we've got to, I have to consistently work against that.
Yes. Yes. So, did you know that the number one commandment, or the commandment that's given the most often in the scriptures, is to fear not? Did you know that? I mean, I haven't gone and counted it, but somebody else did, and they told me that
365 times between the Old and the New Testament. Once for every day of the year.
Nice. I love that you knew that, William. That is so fantastic. I love that you knew that. So God says, don't be afraid. He says, be bold. And so we have to be bold. So then, since we're all coaches, I want to bring this back to finances. How does being bold apply to personal finances? Namely, how does it apply to budgeting or getting out of debt or saving money or planning for the future? Well, it takes courage to budget. I mean, the word budget scares so many people. And it takes courage to actually reach out and take control, to confront your financial behaviors, which, I don't know, the first time my husband and I sat down and budgeted, I was floored and surprised, because if you don't budget, you have no idea where your money is going. So I was really surprised to find out that our number one budgeting item, our biggest category, was food. And it's like, oh my gosh, I didn't know we liked food so much. So, I mean, it takes, you might be surprised and knocked on your butt a little bit when you find out how much you spend. And a lot of people are so scared to face their financial behaviors. And so it takes boldness to be honest with yourself and to confront your behaviors and try to change them.
Well, it's funny you said food is the number one thing. When I first started budgeting, my first budget, figured out what I was spending. Now, remember, I'm single, and in my idea,
he's still single, ladies.
It is cheaper for me to eat out, because when I eat at home and I make the food and everything, I don't save leftovers. I throw them out. I'm very picky. I don't eat leftovers, right? So I was spending over $4,000 per month on eating out. This wasn't food for the house. This was eating out, $4,000 a month on eating out. When I seen that, I was like, this has got to change. So now I allow myself to go out once a week, 5 times a month. So on the weeks that there's only 4 weeks, then 1 week I can go 2 times. But I'm only allowed to go out to eat once a week now because I cannot spend that kind of money. Because $4,000 a month, I can buy tons of food. I just never realized it.
Right. It reminds me of a story about an FPU student that I had a couple months back named CJ. And he was an engineer. It was actually him and his friend. He was an engineer as well. Can't quite remember his name anyway. We were talking about these same things, being bold and, kind of going against the crowd. Well, the hardest thing for both of them, especially CJ, throughout the time with me about this very topic was meal planning, food. They were spending so much money. I'm not sure if it was the same ballpark as that. It's ridiculous. It could have been. It was pretty ridiculous. But he said it was so hard for him to bring his food, watch his other engineering buddies go out to eat and spend the money he knew he could afford to spend, but he wasn't because he had his eyes on his vision, his vision for the future.
Yeah, it takes purpose. It takes action. That's the hardest part. You got to be bold enough to say, I want to change. Most people, they have to hit rock bottom before they're going to change. Now, when I first came to Dave Ramsey, I had 10 credit cards. In my Financial Peace University class, the first one I took, I had 10 of the 33 cards. Okay? Now,
how many students were there?
There was a lot. I want to say there was like 25 students, something like that. And I had the majority of the cards. Now, some of them had already gotten rid of all the cards, but I had 10 of the 33 cards in that class.
You told me before.
Now, the funny thing about that is you have to have purpose, and you have to be like, I don't want this no more. Now, I was doing pretty good. Obviously, I had decent money. Okay, I'm not gonna say I was rich because I was spending it all. But I will tell you one thing.
Spending that kind of money eating out, you had decent money, for sure. Yeah.
But I will tell you one thing. At the time when I came to Dave Ramsey, I was in debt over $300,000. In my first 9 weeks of Financial Peace University, I knocked out $90,000. Now that only came from purpose. That came from a determination that I am going to change. I don't want to live like this no more, which creates boldness that you need to change. And that was without God. Because without God, I would have never done it.
No, it's true. And I like what you said, David, because I agree. It takes what I call the 3 Ds. It takes dedication, which is your purpose. You've got to put your whole life into what you want to do. It takes dedication, determination. You cannot give up. And then discipline.
Ooh.
You got to force yourself to be able to do it even when it gets hard, because I'm going to tell you, as soon as you decide to do something that is good, like budget or save your money, it seems like the whole universe conspires against you.
It really does.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it does. It does. And so you have to have those 3 Ds in order to move forward. But like Isaiah 41:10 says, you don't do it alone. God is with you.
Yeah.
And so,
And I like that, especially with that part that you just said, God is with you, and your son wrestling, and you're the mom on the side. I'm going to take it to Psalms 91.
Oh, yeah.
Under his wings we will find refuge. Now, it kind of reminds me of like when you were younger and your bigger brother is with you. You feel invincible. You can do whatever because, hey, my big brother will take care of you. You can't mess with me because of him. And it's like God's with you. He's got you. So we have that like arrogant boldness, which we need to redevelop it to make it strong boldness, not arrogant.
Yeah. Humble boldness.
Humble boldness, yes, I like that. But it's kind of that I'm with you kind of, mindset.
Yeah.
Yeah. Amen. I love that. I love that. So it does. It takes courage to do this kind of stuff. You've got to be bold. Cannot be afraid to move forward. I mean, with whatever goal you've set financially, whether it's learning how to budget or you're saving up $1,000 for your starter emergency fund. It's hard to change. It's scary to change. But, you've got to do it. You've got to be bold. And if you are, and if you're invested in what you're doing, then, you will do that. And, I mean, you can't let fear stop you.
Right. And we have a lot of people who are letting fear stop them. Like you said, the number one thing that God was saying throughout the scriptures 365 times, do not be afraid, tells me two things. We're afraid and we shouldn't be. We're afraid and we shouldn't be. So, if we're afraid and we shouldn't be, then that means we are living boring lives. Boring lives. And it's like, okay, why are so many people engaging in adultery? Why are so many people doing these things, these crazy things? Well, it's because they've associated their lives with boring. When I don't think God planned that. I don't think God's perfect will for our lives is boring. I think that it's exhilarating. I think it's adventurous. I think that it is, what else?
Well, you got to have faith without doubt. You got to have that strength to walk on the water because your eye is on the prize. See, I'm going to take it to Peter. If
First,
that is
second,
you,
or third.
if that is you, call me and I'll walk on this water. Come.
Ooh, I like that.
He's walking on the water. He's got his eye on the prize. He is walking on. He's doing what is impossible for man to do. He is walking on the water.
Yeah.
As soon as he takes his eye off the prize. Wait a second. I'm human. I can't walk on this water. He falls in.
Yeah.
Now, he's so far away from the boat, Jesus has to pick him up and says, ye of little faith. So boldness also comes with faith. You got to have faith that you can do this. You got to have faith that says you're going to have this done. Keep your eye on the prize and claim that victory because you will have it. That's boldness.
That's powerful.
Yeah.
I think we have to have boldness for ourselves before we have it for anybody else.
You do?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Yep. You have to be blessed to be a blessing.
That's good. That's good.
That's good, guys. I like what you're saying. I love what you said when you said you've got to have faith in order to be bold. And I think the more faith that you have, the more bold you are. But then the bolder that you are, the more faith that you have. So it's kind of a cycle. Maybe a little.
And maybe we can't see it. Faith is the evidence of things unseen.
Yeah.
The substance of things hoped for. Am I saying that right?
Yeah, that was good, William.
Right, okay, got it.
Yeah. So we have to take.
I don't even have faith to say what faith is. Oh, wow, I'm leaning on you guys right now. Thank you.
Yeah, so you have to take that step into the darkness, not knowing where you're going before you can. Well, it's like you take the step in the darkness, but then the way is lit up as you go. but you have to take that first step. So, interesting.
Yeah.
Okay, so I just noticed we are way past time.
Oh.
So anybody that is in the room, if you have any questions, feel free to post it.
Yeah.
We will address your questions.
Absolutely.
Until then, we're just going to keep talking.
Yeah. We are taking one step at a time, waiting for God to illuminate the path ourselves. So here we are.
Right.
So
We got to be bold here.
to bring up. Last year, you had a step that you worked towards, and this year you have something else. I mean, this is the beginning of the year. So what are you using? What is your use that you're using this year compared to last year?
Okay, let me think. Okay.
You want to be a little bit more bold this year?
I do want to be more bold. I want to be unafraid and just push forward. And I have done that. I've told you before, I have gotten out of my comfort zone quite a bit. I've actually given presentations to large companies about, things that I want to do. They liked what I said. I told you before, I'm tired of being timid. I am tired of standing in the background. And so I'm ready. I'm ready to just put myself out there and be seen. So, and I think you have to get to that point. You have to just say, I'm done. I want to be this, and then work toward it. So yeah, everything, all of the goals that I have are to push me to be bolder and bolder with everything that I do. So thanks for asking. So yeah, everything I do, I mean, calling people and building relationships with as many people as I can, networking and just getting to know people. Because, in order to be bold, you do have to have a support system.
Yeah, a support system that believes in you, that's going to speak life into you. It will pick you up and remind you of who you are when you don't believe it. Like, yeah, for sure.
Yeah, keep you accountable.
Yeah. And hearing you speak, Alisa, I mean, you're motivating me. I'm getting a fire up underneath my butt over here because of, your terminology is powerful. I'm ready to be seen. I'm tired of being timid. I want to be out there. I want to be doing.
So let me ask you a question. You want to, what are you going to do about it? Let's bring that boldness out. What are you going to do?
Yeah, it's a call to action. And I'm part-time on purpose. I work full-time as a home care professional. Help elderly and disabled people do the things that they otherwise couldn't do, rehabilitation and day-to-day tasks. But and I love that job. I absolutely love it. Like it's a big part of who I am. But I like the question, David. I do. I like the question. Like, what are you going to do about it? Like, put your money where your mouth is.
You say you want. What are you going to do about that? Make that want a necessity, and make that want so that you're doing it.
So right now, I am putting together with David, with a lot of his help, but personalizing it all-in-one system on getting myself out there where contacts, they come in, they get a drip campaign to learn about me and my story, about what I have to offer, about what it looks like to coach with me. A lot of that is automated, so I don't have to be sending emails, spending my time doing that. I can actually be out and going and doing, right, while that's working for me. So I think that's a big step.
That is a big step, but I hear you saying so that you can be out there and doing. What are you going to be doing to get out there?
Right.
Because you want to be more bold. You want to do what you want so that you receive what you want.
Yeah. I think just talking to people that you would see regardless. Going and being bold. Maybe you don't know where the conversation's going to go. Maybe you're at a gas station and you compliment somebody's car. You're at the grocery store knocking on some melons. Or, wherever you are, whatever you're doing.
And I'm just
being present. Being present. Alisa, you said something before in this podcast. You said to be out there and to be seen. to be seen. Come on and push me. I'm ready. Come on.
Well, you brought up that you work at a home care. When you're working with them, I know that they have other people that visit them and stuff.
Sure.
How well do you push them with boldness?
That can be tricky because of the conflict of interest, right?
You don't have to mention your business, but how often are you pushing them for boldness? Because as you push them, they're going to try to search you to figure out what you're doing.
So not for the business, but just for the boldness.
For the boldness.
Gotcha.
Building that strength up so that you're able to do it in other things.
I like that.
So,
and I do, but I think that there are some areas that I could absolutely work on that and get even better. Right now I'm searching for those. Come on, I know you got some more stuff.
well, let's bring it back over and dig a little bit deeper. What are you doing to bring boldness stronger? I know you've already mentioned quite a few things.
Yeah.
But I'm prying even more because, after all, we are talking about being bold.
Oh, yes. Well, you know, it comes down to daily goals. And every morning, you know, I get up, and I visit my day, and I decide what is it I want to do for that day. So, I mean, it's an intentional plan. I sit down, I get up in the morning early, I exercise, I take care of my spirituality, I take care of my physical body, and anyway, and then I sit down and I look at my calendar, I decide, what am I going to do today? And so that is probably the most important thing that I have done, is I set daily goals. But before I do that, usually on Sundays, I will look at my week ahead and I'll set some weekly goals. And so my daily goals are to meet my weekly goal. That's really important. I mean, because sometimes when we set goals too far ahead, we'll forget, or it'll seem so overwhelming that it's not achievable. So if we set the daily goals to meet our long-term goal, it becomes a lot easier. So that's the most important thing. And then I just go forward trying to meet those goals.
I like that. So I'm just going to stretch you a little bit if you don't mind.
Mm-hmm.
So you said daily goals, which I love that, because I'm a very big person on setting a vision, which is 5 years, a monster goal, which is 1 year, and then SMART goals, monthly, weekly, and daily. So I'm a big believer of, daily goals. Huge. Let me just say that. However, you said that you do these because you want. Is there something that we can do to strengthen that and be even stronger? Because like King David, he prayed to God every morning about himself, and then throughout the day he prayed about his people. He won every single battle because he would ask first, are you going to give me this guy's head? Yes, I will go directly in. Yes, I will, but take the long route. No, pass on this one. God would literally tell him, go fight. In every battle he won, every battle he fought, he won because he asked and he had the strength and the boldness to go in there and take it. So I know you said you want, but what are you doing daily to not only want, but to seize the moment and claim that victory because you have the boldness?
And Alisa, if you don't mind, I think I want to take this.
Okay, go ahead. Go ahead, William.
Okay, all right. That was powerful. I just kind of want to hop on that. That's good. Okay, so going back to last year, I'm a runner. I like to run. I like to get out there and run on the road there. Towards traffic, okay? Anybody that's walking and running, you need to be walking and running towards traffic. You don't need to be walking against or with traffic because you could get run over. Anyway, highway patrol. Now that that's out of the way, okay, so I'm running, all right, and I've got a goal of 10 miles. David, your question was, is there anything that you're doing intentionally to make sure that you give it your all, right? I didn't. I made it I was very intentional about not looking to see what mile marker I was at. I had run similar paths before, right? So I knew roundabout. But then there was a moment. There was not a moment. There was a checkpoint, we'll say, that I passed. That I was like, okay, I don't know. I'm just gonna run until I can't. Fair. I did 16 miles. And I think it was because I took the cap off. I didn't say I'm going to do 10 miles and I'm going to stop. I took my eyes off of the goal, if that makes sense. And I just was enjoying putting one foot in front of the other. I was finding joy in the present moment. I think goals are awesome, and I think that we should all have goals. But I think that there is real joy to be found in real time. And when we can tap into that, hey, we far exceed our goals. We far exceed our goals. Would you agree?
Yeah, I love what you said there, William, where you said you did not look at your watch to see your mile marker. And I love that you said that you were intentional about not looking, because I think, we can set goals, but it's important to push ourselves to the breaking point, to the what is it called? When you're lifting and to the point where you can't lift anymore. Anyway, I can't remember what that's called. But
well, when you have a coach pushing you one more, that's to your breaking point.
Yeah.
Getting you to that point. When we're looking, we always have, okay, this is all I can do, and you quit, and the coach will actually push you to do another 20 more.
Yeah.
One more, and then he'll pick it up, right?
Yeah.
So I would say that would be till your breaking point.
And, going back to that breaking point, we are You there, Lisa?
did we die again?
Let's do it again.
Can you hear me now?
Sorry about that. So going back to that breaking point, we are not laying a new foundation, or we're not creating a new bar, I don't think, until we are there at our breaking point. Like, we have to be in that window to get better. And I think a good coach makes sure that we reach that window. Like you said, David, that 20 extra reps.
Yep. Well, the key I always say is if you stay in the same place and expect a change, that's the definition of insanity. You're insane. Everybody knows you have to get out of your comfort zone. So we can get out of our comfort zone, and that's great. Mm-hmm. But a coach will not only take you out of your comfort zone, but a little bit more.
Yeah. And
that's why you get true results with a coach. Yeah. We had this one person that was doing the FPU and everything like that. They were trying to get out of debt. Took them 6 years, and they were still pretty close to the same boat. They got a coach. A year later, they were debt free.
Oh, see, that's awesome.
So there's power in that.
Yeah. There's limiting beliefs that I've found that I run up against whenever I am not intentional and I do look right, and I'm looking, I'm seeing what mile marker I'm at. Say, I can't do this. I'm chafing, or my hip is hurting. I've got a questionable hip, whatever. But, in these things, these limiting beliefs that I'm like, I've got to do all this tomorrow. What kind of state are my legs going to be, in my feet, my back, Like, I've got to take it easy. If I don't take it easy, I'm going to mess my body up, But the fact of the matter is I'm 32 years old. If I'm not pushing myself right now, I'm an idiot. That's the fact of the matter. And, it's a matter of mindset. It's a matter of pushing yourself, having people as coaches that will push you and make sure, hold you accountable, and remind you who you are when you don't even believe it.
So I do want to take it back to you, because I do want to hear how you're taking your wants and making the boldness create the success that you want to get out of that?
That's a really good question, because that it is one thing to want something and then another thing to actually achieve that something. So I think a lot of times that is where your support system comes in. And you mentioned having a coach, and all three of us here are coaches. And so a lot of times what I do, because my daily life is pretty busy. I work and I've got a daughter home that I homeschool. I have callings in my church. I've got a million things going on. And so I will use my support system a lot. I'll call up and say, hey, I just need to talk to somebody, help me push through this so I can achieve this, and so using my support system, having it written down so that I know what it is I am working toward, posting it someplace where I can see it. I've got Post-it notes all over my house for things that I want to do, just to remind me of what I am working toward. These are just little things that I'm doing, but I think having a support system and having a coach, having somebody to talk to and somebody to push me, but then that same coach noticing and recognizing, because Will, you said that, you're 32 years old, so you got to get out there and really push it. But, I'm not 32 anymore, and I used to run, but I can't get out there like I did when I was 32. But as much as I would like to, but maybe having a coach there, somebody to pull me back when I am pushing myself too hard.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think it's a great point, Alisa. And that's not my mindset always. After that runner's high kicks in after mile 3, I'm like, this is what I get to do. Like, this is so much fun. Waving at people, smiling, having a blast. Right? So it's not my mindset always.
Well,
I know exactly what you're talking about, that runner's high. And you hit that mile 3 and you can go forever until your body breaks down at mile 20 and you hit the wall.
Yeah.
And that's where your coach would say, hey, you know what? You've hit mile 20. Take a little bit of a break, but then you got to get back and hit it hard, and you've got to get all the way to mile 26. And so you got to finish that marathon, because all of these goals are not sprints.
That's right.
They're marathons. And so we've got to have a support system to cheer us on, but again, to let us know when we're pushing it too hard.
You make an interesting point, and I love that. And I just want to mention to everybody out there, if you're a coach, you're going to have a coach, because successful coaches always do. If you're not a coach, you always have a coach as well. Look at all the famous people, all the successful ones that have at least one coach. Most of them have 3 to 4 to 5. They'll have a fitness coach, they'll have a financial coach, they'll have several coaches. The 3 of us here are coaches, and we know the power of having a coach. And so it's important to have a coach. Now, as far as the coaches go, it's important to be connected with coaches so that when you run into issues, you can contact somebody, you can get the help that you need. We have a community that's set up just for coaches to build all coaches together. This is for all coaches. This is ICF coaches, this is Ramsey coaches, and this is Tony Robbins coaches. This is all coaches. Okay, if you're a coach, you can be part of this community, which is free. There is no cost. All the information is in the description below, so you definitely want to check that out. We're here to be the support, like she was saying. Your support is important. We're here to be that support for you. Join the community, get connected, and stay with that backbone, that strength that you can get. Now, we are here every Thursday for the wonderful live, unscripted, raw podcast. As you've noticed today, we've had a couple of technical difficulties. which is fine because we're going to pull through it. We appreciate you being here. It was a blessing and honor, and I look forward to the next time we can get you on the podcast. Any final words?
Humbled. I'm humbled to be in your presence, David and Alisa and Joe. Humbled to be here. Thank you so much. Talk soon.
Do you have any final words, Alisa?
Yeah, I just want to say thank you so much for allowing me to come on your podcast. It was a lot of fun. And I wish your listeners all the best in the world. But if they feel like they need some support, contact me, contact you. It'll make a world of difference.
Yeah, that's right. And if you want to get a hold of her, she is in the community. So join the coaches community. You'll be able to get a hold of her as well.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you, everybody. It's been a blast. We'll see you next time at the round table with the real talk.